Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Prime proudly presents the 20th of 22 Open Division qualifiers of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Welcome to the Brunswick World Team Challenge. We're at the Princess Lanes here in Pittsburgh, and it's wonderful to be back in Western Pennsylvania. A knowledgeable, large crowd on hand for the action. Hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. Earl, we had 84 teams from 13 states here. The competition has been splendid. Now we're down to 3.
We're down to 3, and the cream always seems to come to the top. It was a very difficult, competitive lane condition. The team that's dominated up to this point through the match play, Turbo 2-1, is the defending champions here. And not only did they dominate the match play, but they just kind of ran away with it, except for one team, the Gators, who qualified second, a very talented, individually talented team. Whether they can come together as a team and win this tournament is anybody's guess. The team in number 3rd position really could be the spoilers. They're the hometown favorites, and they could go all the way. They have that kind of ability.
So it's an interesting bit of action we have coming up for you. We'll be back with our opening match. The Gators go against Tylenol. Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of bowlers worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. That's Ed Binkowski on the left there and David Guindon on the right as we are ready for this opening match. A 2-game match. Guindon will lead off for the Gators from Fulton, New York. That's up in the Syracuse area. Guindon's 29 years old, bowls for a living.
As you can see by the extreme angle that Guindon is using, the lane condition, there's a lot of variations going on out there. The guys are playing all over the lane surface. No one has really found any place that they can be consistently in the pocket area. And so it's been a real test for the guys. They've had to work very hard, not only to try to get the ball in the pocket area, but not only that, but to make spares. Spares have been difficult, even one-pin spares such as this. So you have to be careful.
He picks up the 3. This is the youngest competitor in our stepladder finals, 20 years old, Ed Binkowski III. He lives in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, this Tylenol team from the greater Philadelphia area.
Leaves the 2-8. And he'll probably play this just off his strike line a little bit. In other words, move his feet a board or 2 to the right and throw it right at the same target he tried to get the ball in the pocket with and let it cross over and hook into the 2-8. He wants to get both pins with the ball. He's got that Michael Jordan thing on his strike ball, but he doesn't do it on his spare. In other words, he sticks his tongue out for the strike ball, but doesn't do it on the spare ball. That's kind of interesting.
Lineup presented by Contour Power Grips. Pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips, and you should too. The Gators lineup.
Doug Kent, an outstanding talent here, a former ABC American Bowling Congress Masters champion back in 1991.
Whoa, look out. He just completely lost it. Doug Kent lives in Canandaigua, New York.
We'll take another look at that shot, Jay, and here's a look. You can see how concentration is on a high key here. What he's trying to do here, and the ball just gets away from him, he's trying to get the ball about 50 feet down the lane on a line from an inside angle and then break it off that point at about 10 feet from the pocket. Well, he got it just beyond that point and it never gripped the lane, went in the channel. The idea is to get it past the dressing. The dressing is down the lane about 40 feet. And if you can get it past that on a line to the dry area, such as he just did, you get the good ball reaction. But if you're going at too much angle from left to right as the ball leaves your hand, it'll go out into that oil out there and just go right in the channel.
And Contour Power Grip starting lineup for Tylenol Incorporated, pioneer of the finger grip industry, Contour Power Grips. Ed Siegel, 35 years old. He's from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, across the river from Philadelphia.
And the spares just seem to get a little bit tougher each time. The 3-9-10, the idea here will be to cross lane it. In other words, stand to the left, go to the right with the ball. Try to get the ball to hook on the back end as you fit it between the 3-10, and the ball will take out the 9-pin.
This is the fourth time this team has been in the top 10. They placed fourth in Baltimore in '95. Rolled a 300 game in match play.
Like enough to get to the 10.
A 300 game here. We have our $25,000 perfect game challenge presented by Bud Light, of course. The Gators are up by 12. This is Brad Angelo, 26 years old. He bowls for a living. Won the 94, 95, and 96 Bowlers Network Open titles. Brad is from Newfane, New York.
And he leaves the 2-5, another dangerous spare. A lot of ways to miss it and only a couple ways to make it. The ideal way is to, again, play it off your strike line or down the left side of the lane with a lot of ball speed. You want to hit both pins with the ball if you can. Careful not to chop the 2 off the 5. Going down the left side with a lot of ball speed. Oh my, just enough.
Next is Paul Allig. Paul's 32, an electrical engineer, lives in Ambler, Pennsylvania.
This team, Tylenol, all three of the teams that we're watching this evening for the championship were the leading qualifiers in the first rounds of qualifying, which is 6 team games, regular team games. So all they did was jockey for position. Even though other teams made a run at it, no one could hang on and stay with these guys.
And you're looking now at Rudy Kasimakis, who's a pro shop technician in Levittown, New York. Won the 95 Pittsburgh and 93 New Jersey events with different teams. And Rudy wheels and deals.
Yes, he does, and he dealt just right. The crossover hit, carried out the 9, the last pin to go. He had 2 pins jump on it for him. Rudy's nickname is Revs. Rudy I can't even say it. Kasimakis, but his nickname is Revs, and that comes from his being able to really get a lot of rotation on a bowling ball.
That's how we all know him. Jamie Murr, 26 years old, from Levittown, Pennsylvania. Came up a little short with that one.
Good shot there. Good opening shot. Kept the ball in play. Didn't get in any trouble. I like the rotation on it. What he's trying to do is spin it a little bit, and that by doing so he can keep the ball on line longer. It doesn't grip the lane quite as soon, and so he can control it better. Get the break point down, and he'll be right there.
Fehr is a bowling center manager. The Gators leading by 10 in the early going. Remember, this is a 2-game match. The winner will face Turbo 2-in-1 grips. This is Michael Tryniski. He's 35, self-employed, lives in Fulton, New York. 94 ABC tournament doubles and team all events champion.
And a real competitor. He really gets into it, gets very emotional when he plays, and you'll have to see him, if he needs a strike, run it out about 8 lanes down and jumping over ball returns. You never know about Mike, but again, a tough spare, the 2-8. Try to hook it into the spare, get both pins with the ball. Good cover there.
Now for Tyol, Ed Schuler.
Big Ed Schuler.
Big Ed is a glass technician, lives in Philadelphia.
Head standing clear up by next to the ball return, as close as he can get to it. He wants to use as much of the lane as he can, laying the ball down almost in the left-hand channel and letting it roll back to the pocket. And he leaves the 10-pin. One of the best shots we've seen so far. And every spare is an adventure. The players can never let up. They have to really concentrate on their spare shooting. Ed'll use as much of the lane again as he can to cover the 10-pin. Stand far left, spot somewhere around the 4th arrow in the middle of the lane, and throw it hard and straight.
All right. We'll return with more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge from the Steel. Guindon getting ready to see if he can pick up the spare as he left the 10-pin here. All right.
Well, the opening round jitters should be out by now. The players should be a little more relaxed. They've made that first shot for their team now the second time through this first game of this 2-game total pin match.
Pinkowski's going to be careful he doesn't bite his tongue off. Well, he got them all.
He got them all. But see, he won't stick it out on the spares, just on the strike ball.
Just the strike ball. Nice going.
That's kind of like when Jordan goes for the slam dunk. You know, you got to get up and get that tongue out.
Doug Kent will be next. Doug has one PBA regional title to his credit. A little high on the head pin.
And Doug liked it. When he let it go, he was pretty happy with it. I think he got it to his target the way he wanted it to get there. The ball just came up high in the head pin and set up. And when it sets up high in the head pin, it's going to be a split. If it sets up high in the pocket, you seem to carry everything. But when it sets up high in the head pin like this, watch the ball go out, hook back, and stop right there. And when it does that, that's an automatic 4-6.
Ed Siegel.
The key to success throughout this event, all through the qualifying rounds and then on into the match play and getting to this point, was the word patience. If you were patient, didn't expect a lot, just went out and just ground it out and kept grinding, didn't give up, you could make it to the telecast. If you got carried away with your emotions, let it get to you that it was a difficult lane condition and spares were tough, you're out in the street in your car on your way home right now. But these guys all showed a great degree of patience and fortitude to stay in there and just keep working hard. They knew someone was going to win this tournament. It might as well be them. And you're going to see a lot of splits, some missed spares today, but players, you'll never see anybody give up. They're all going to work hard and give it everything they got every shot.
Very tough conditions. Brad Angelo, a league average of 224.
I like this game. I like the way he releases the ball, and this is the kind of shot you have to make pretty much to keep the ball in the pocket area. He's got a better chance, in other words. The odds are with him of getting the ball in the pocket area more than some of the other players because he's not covering a lot of the lane. He's just keeping it on a line like that. Well, that one got away, that's for sure. The 3-9, he's got his hands full with this spare.
Take a look at some of the other finishers here as we had 84 teams. Finishing 5th, Bull Right Lanes from Union City, New Jersey. Unique Embroidery, Lansing, Michigan on hand here. The Young Guns from Erie, Pennsylvania. Jimmy's PS, Jamestown, New York. Angelo trying to pick up this spare.
Wants to get on the right-hand side of the 3-pin, let the ball finish into the 9. Oh, just did get it.
A couple of other teams finishing 9th. And then the Vice Grips team from Gaithersburg, Maryland. The full field here this week. Lalig. Gotta hurry.
Oh, there we go. Hit him thin and watch him spin, right, Jay?
Yep.
For those of you who may not have watched the World Team Challenge before or may not remember the format, it's very simple. We had 84 teams, which is a full field. They bowled 6 games of qualifying. Total pinfall determined the teams that made it to match play. As we see a replay of the last shot, the wall shot, the head pin doing all the damage coming off the wall. After they had completed 6 games of normal team qualifying bowling, the top 10 advanced to match play. They bowled 10 2-game Baker system matches with 50 bonus pins available, 15 for winning each game and 20 if you win total pins for the 2 games. The top 3 teams then with the carryover of all the pinfall you see here today. These are our top 3. They were the ones that outlasted, I think, and that's the key word, they outlasted the rest of the field.
The Gators, 73% of spares in match play. Rudy Kasimakis.
Rudy at 73%.
Oh, that's Rudy only. Yeah,
that's way below his normal spare shooting ability. Rudy normally can throw it in the air in those spares. He doesn't miss very many.
Well, he picks that one up. Talking about numbers, the high game, 1092, Bull Right Lanes of Union City, New Jersey. Troy Lint of Reading, Pennsylvania with a 288 high game. High series to Brian Kretzer, 706. Brian out of Cincinnati, Ohio. You see him in the finals, incidentally, with Turbo.
What has to happen is as the lanes change, and they will because of the play on the lanes, the ball's going down the lanes, there will be a transition. And that transition of the oil moving around will, I think, make the shot a little better as we get later and later into the telecast. Because they'll dry out the track area, the players will be able to move inside of that or more toward the center of the lane and then use that track area for friction. So they'll have oil in the middle and friction in the track area. That should improve their ability to get the ball in the pocket.
Well, the lanes are tough. 211 for the 3rd highest qualifying average.
Now, when you consider we had 420 bowlers in the field, that's not, and very good bowlers, a very strong field.
Here's Michael Tryniski.
There it is. Oh, it almost got there. Looked like it was going to be there, and Mike was kind of running it out, but he left an easy spare, and the idea is to get something. If you can't strike, try to leave something that you can convert. And he leaves only the 5 and the 8. Shouldn't be any problem at all for Mike. He'll just line up for a strike ball here, hit a strike target, and let the ball roll into the pocket.
Nicely done.
I think the thing to remember here, this is 2 games. We mentioned that several times already, but it's important. 2 games, total pins determines the winner of this match, and they do switch games after each game. Switch lanes after each game, excuse me. So the team you see finishing on the Gators on lane 37, they will go to lane 38 for their next game.
That's looking good. Well,
you're right, Jay.
It went down. A late 10. Now Ed Schuler for Tile All.
Ed made a great shot in his opening shot in the 5th frame. He left the 10 pin, but he was in the pocket very well.
233 leg average. A beauty.
Well, you got to get a look at his footwork. That would be the key here. Now, don't try this at home. You could get hurt. But if we can get a look at Ed's footwork this time, now he's going to stand right next to the end of the ball return. Now, watch where he walks to. He's walking left and more left and more left. He's actually walking down the approach on lane 37 to bowl on lane 38. Now, that takes some pretty good timing. You can't rush this at all. If you get a little fast with your feet, you might get really in trouble, get all tied up and hurt yourself, fall down out there. Here he goes to the left, and then back to the right. And this one's going to be on the left side of the head.
That one got away from him a little bit.
He did the important thing. He filled the 10th frame. He didn't get them any deeper into trouble, and this match is close. It's only going to be about a 5-pin difference after the first game, so anything can happen as they switch lanes for their climatic game, I guess you could call it, of the opening match.
The Gators up by 5, and Game 2 coming up. We'll return with more right after these messages. Here's young Ed Binkowski. Switched lanes, and he opens with a very strong throw there.
No one has been able to shoot much as far as big numbers go under the Baker system in the match play portion of the tournament. And we don't expect big scores here, but we do expect what we've already had, very competitive matches. Only 5 pins separating these two teams with the second game to play.
David Guindon.
Got to hurry. No chance out there. They just don't come back from out there. And then if you kind of square up, in other words, go a little more direct through the first part of the lane, the head area, the ball wants to hook and go high on the head pin. So not only does your release have to be absolutely perfect, but you better have the exact right ball speed also, or the ball's going to overreact.
You mentioned match play, Earl. The Gators were 5-5 in match play. Tyler 4-5-1.
And our tournament leaders at 8-2 pretty much ran away with it at that point.
Guindon picks it up.
You see how these guys shoot spares, and that's what you should try to do if you're watching and you're having trouble with your spares. Don't try to hook the ball at your spares. Use as much of the lane as you can and go hard and straight. And if you hook the ball, you never see a good spare shooter hooking the ball at spares. Almost all of them throw it straight.
Here's Ed Siegel.
Which kind of raises the question, if they can throw it straight and hit what they're looking at, why do they want to hook it so much on their strike ball and not be able to hit the pocket? It's always kind of made me wonder. I mean, you only have to knock down 10 of them, not 20 or 25, so I would look for a little more control and a lot less hook.
69% spares in the match play, and he gets that one. Doug Kent will be next. Doug has competed in the World Team Challenge before. Last time June of '95 at Baltimore, finishing 3rd. 4 Opens lifetime, 6 Baker games.
See the ball, it got right to the break point where Doug, he's got his hands on his hips, can't believe that ball reaction. Got right to the break point where he thought it was going to go into the pocket area, and it just straightened out. It just never gripped the lane. And that's just, the oil pattern is such, the carry down is such, as it moves around, it's become very difficult for the players to find anywhere where they feel that they can be consistently in the pocket area with a good ball reaction. And this is not an easy spare. 1-2-4-8. He's got to get it on the left side of the head pin, and hopefully the ball will take out all 4 pins. It'll just go down the line. Not this time.
We'll be back with more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge from here in the tri-state area. Princess Lanes in John with a spare, Angelo with a spare, Murr was open, Kasimakis had a spare, and the lead is 10 for the Gators. Here's the big man again, Ed Schuler, 91 New Jersey amateur champion.
He's bowled extremely well. He just hasn't been lucky to carry the corners, but that particular shot there, I think when he let go of that, it's about as good as he could throw it. 4-pin stands.
He's been an 81% spare shooter in this event and picks that one up. Michael Tryniski, 4 PBA regional titles for him over the years, and he was second in '92 at the Super Hoinky Classic. Second to Rudy Kasimakis, who won it that year. They're just not getting the reaction they expect.
No, and that one really didn't have much of a chance. There is what you might call an out of bounds, anything to the right of the track area. If you get it in that area of the lane before it's, say, 35 to 40 feet down the lane, it's not going to come back. It's just going to keep going. And if you get it started just even slightly to the right, anything outside of, say, the 12 board, it's just going to stay there.
The lead is 7 for the Gators. The winner of this match goes up against Turbo 2-in-1 Grips. And the winner here in Pittsburgh moves on to the Grand Championships in Louisiana.
Look, this is a tongue-in shot this time.
Binkowski.
There it went.
There we go. Nice shot.
Whatever it is, it works.
Yes, indeed.
Right. That's 2 in a row for him.
Bouncing around there. High-fiving. Big spare. David Guindon, previously his last TV appearance in '96 up at Cheektowaga, New York, finishing second. There you see his lifetime TV stats. And the strike for David Guindon.
What a great shot that was. Well, we're getting warmed up here now. The guys are getting down to where it's really going to be an exciting finish, Jay.
We'll return with more as the Gators have the 7-pin advantage. Back with the World Team Challenge and the end of this match. While we were away, it really heated up. Siegel a strike, Kent a strike, Allig a strike, Angelo a strike. How about that? 7-pin lead for the Gators.
And it comes down to the guys that basically are there for one reason. They're capable of performing under pressure. The guys that bowl 9th and 10th for your team are the ones you really expect to perform well in this situation. And there's one of them right there.
Jamie Murr with the strike for Tyleall. And they are really keeping the pressure on the Gators. And now it'll be up to Rudy Kasimakis.
Rudy hasn't been close yet. The problem Rudy has, and what makes Rudy what he is, a great player, is that he generally finds a way when you need him in this situation. And they need him really bad right now.
He comes through. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy is right. What a finish to a great match.
All of a sudden, after all of the difficulties, the strikes come in bunches here.
Well, we're looking at, I think, a transition in the lanes, Jay. I think the lane opened up a little bit. The players are moving more to the left, throwing the ball a little harder, throwing it out to the track area. They've got some hold inside and a little hook on the outside, and that's what it's all about. And here's a guy who's yet to miss right here.
Ed Schuler. Oh, what did you mean by transition in the lanes?
Well, the oil moves.
Might wonder.
As the balls roll down the lane, they move the dressing that's on the surface of the lane. The oil pattern changes, and the track area where most of them are playing has dried out to the degree that they can get inside of that now, to the left of it, in other words, and there's still oil there. So they get the skid in the first part, and then they use the friction on the back to bring the ball back to the pocket, and he's really done it well right here, this young man, Big Ed. Look at here. Oh, what a great shot.
Earl with this new condition, how long will it last?
It'll change. It'll continue to change.
As
they continue to roll the ball down the lane, it'll change. And give you an idea of what happens here, he actually pulled this ball to the left into that oil I'm talking about. It still held the pocket. But that wasn't there 6 frames ago. You couldn't get that reaction. So the lanes continue to change. Comes down to 1 ball.
And it will be Michael Tryniski who will put it in play. He must strike.
Got it wide. Got it back. How about that?
Oh, boy.
That ball would never have gotten back 15 minutes ago.
Well, this is some finish here. This really did heat up, didn't it?
Well, again, that's what these guys are getting paid for. That's why they're bowling where they're bowling in the lineup, because they can perform under pressure, and there's where you want to hit it. And these bowling balls that the players use today, if you can get it light in the pocket area, your chances of striking are extremely good.
Little high. We'll be going to around the bowling world. The winners here. Gators, of course, will be going against Turbo 2-in-1 Grips when we It's time to go around the bowling world. Brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas. He captured the Association of College Unions International Championships in Atlanta, Georgia. Florida's Stephen Gleason teamed with Keith Butt from New York's Essex Community College to win the ACUI doubles with a 1383. The women's doubles title went to defending all-events champion Jennifer Swanson of Sacred Heart and Tammy Peltzer of Cal State Fullerton with 1354. Peltzer's on her way to the Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championship in Kenner, Louisiana, as a member of the Contour Power Grip's Fantastic Sam's team that won the women's division event recently at Dublin Bowl in Dublin, California. Gordon Vatican of Wichita State University has become the first collegiate bowling coach to be hired on a full-time basis. Vatican has led WSU's top-notch bowling program in a non-paying capacity since the early 1970s. A record 187 competitors from all 50 states, 3 Canadian provinces, and Puerto Rico competed in the 37th American Bowling Congress Senior Championship on the ABC Tournament lanes in Salt Lake City. Donald Andrew of Sierra Vista, Arizona won the Class A 70 and over division. Willie Locke of Ely, Nevada triumphed among the 65-69-year-olds in Class B action. Murray, Utah's Jerry Zabriskie took the title in the 60-64 Class C category. And Joe Wiedmeyer of Bramer, Missouri took Class D honors among the 55-59-year-old competitors. Speaking of Salt Lake City, the 93rd American Bowling Congress Tournament is nearing an end of its run at the Salt Palace Convention Center, and Don Scudder of Cincinnati, Ohio on top in the singles leaderboard with an 826. Scudder's also a member of the Pollard's Bowl team, currently atop the team all-event standings. The crafty right-hander is also on his way to the Brunswick World Team Challenge Grand Championship as a member of the Storm team, which won the St. Louis Team Challenge qualifier back in December. Quite a season, Don, and it's not over yet. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments. Call 800-257-6179 for information on how to enter. Our championship match is coming up after these messages. Challenge is brought to you by the Treasure Chest Casino, proud host of the 96 Grand Championships, August 24th through the 27th. Qualifying at Don Carter Lanes, the exciting arena finals at the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner, Louisiana. And we move now to the championship match. Steve Fehr for 2 Turbo 2-in-1 grips. Dave Guindon, shake hands. It'll be Guindon to lead off. The Gators winning the first match over Tyleall, 389-383.
Boy, it looked like it was going to be a lot worse than that for a while. They sure started throwing strikes at the end, though. Let's see if it carries over into this match.
It does.
Yes, it does.
That answers the question.
Very quickly, yes.
And remember, we have the $25,000 Perfect Game Challenge presented by Bud Light. Here's the veteran Steve Fehr, lives in Cincinnati, pro shop owner there, the 94 ABC Bud Light Masters champion.
Got her a little bit of a break there. Could have been a lot worse. The ball finished a little high in the head pin and almost had the 4-7-10. Got away with it.
Contour Power Grips starting lineup brought to you by Contour Power Grips. More pros choose Contour, and you should too.
Steve Fehr switching bowling balls. He'll go cross lane at this, the 4-7.
Oh.
Now see, remember when he threw the strike ball and the pin rolled across and nudged the 4-pin? Well, it moved it off spot just enough that it could be chopped like that.
A disappointing start for Turbo 2-in-1 grips.
The advantage here is to the Gators. Remember, they just won the opening match. They're familiar with the lanes. They're comfortable with the television cameras on. Through the first 5 frames of this opening match, they have the opportunity to get into some sort of a lead before Turbo 2-in-1 can loosen up.
Doug Kent.
The 2-8. We've seen a lot of these, and sometimes with the 10-pin, the man in motion, but only the 2-8, and Doug will play it off the strike line, try to hook the ball into the 2 and the 8, let the ball get both pins.
Gators' qualifying average was 203.5. Turbo 2-in-1 grips, 197.
Good cover there.
Last TV appearance for Dave Bernhardt at Cheektowaga, New York. Lifetime TV stats. Boy, 10 opens.
Look at the games. 16 games, though, Jay. He's bowled a lot of games. 10 opens. It's almost an open a game. Or 10 out of 16. That's, 5 out of 8. That's, 62% of the time he's getting an open.
Dave, of course, lives in the Detroit area, is the Turbo owner. 92 ABC doubles champion.
Loves the game, loves to play, and really enjoys the World Team Challenge competition. Oh, there's number 11.
Well, we've seen some early mistakes here.
Well, Dave trying to open his wrist, relax it here, and throw the ball hard and straight. He got around the side of it a little bit, and see the rotation of the ball, picks up right there, hooks, and he misses the head pin.
Brad Angelo, the 94 Buffalo Masters champion. Very talented young performer here. Look at the intensity in those eyes.
Well, I'm sure they're aware of what I said earlier, that if they can get out of the gate and build up a little bit of a lead, it could really be the deciding factor. The team that finishes higher in the standings gets their choice of starting lanes, which means in essence that they get their choice of finishing lanes. And what that really means is that by Turbo 2-in-1 deciding to start on lane 38, they can finish on lane 37, which means they will finish the match first, which puts more pressure, if it's a close match, on the anchor man of the Gators, who is Michael Tryniski, who really performed well in that opening match, getting the strike they needed in the 10th frame to win.
Brian Kretzer.
Good qualifying average, 212, outstanding.
Kretzer lives in the Dayton, Ohio area. He's a carpenter when he's not bowling.
Well, here's it.
Slipped a little there.
No
He's
chance
not
on
too
that.
thrilled about that. And we'll take a look at his previous record. November of '95 at Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, outside of Harrisburg. Won with Columbia 2-in-1 grips. Only 2 opens in 6 Baker games, 7 strikes.
He's going to try to fit this between these two pins, get the ball with both pins. Good try.
The Brunswick World Team Challenge from the Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh. The Gators up by 32.
Soccer. And soccer has the world. Football Mundial, this week on your regional sports network.
Rudy Kasimakis ready to go, and that twisting return and a little wide and a problem for Rudy.
Well, not a good break at all for Rudy. He thought if he got a part of the head pin, generally he gets a strike. He didn't get quite enough of it this time, and didn't get the wall, get the head pin to come off the wall and create the mix he wanted. You see the strength and the power and the release of Rudy Kasimakis. The head pin goes to the wall and just kicks out the 4 and the 2, but he leaves the 5-7. Again, Rudy is a good spare shooter. He'll play this off his strike line, give it a little more room, a little more ball speed, and try to slide the 5 into the 7. Good chance. No, that one hooked for. That's where he wanted his first ball to do. Finish up like that. Didn't do it.
Well, we look now at John Hriscina. John, 58 years old, a senior pro bowler, retired mail carrier, lives in Franklin, Pennsylvania.
This is one of the shortest arm swings for a really outstanding talent you'll ever see. John just kind of takes it back just past his right hip and then uses his strength. Here's a great look at it. A tremendous upper body strength. John, a devout weightlifter, keeps himself in excellent condition for a man in his mid-50s, and uses that body strength to create shots like that right there. Picked up the washout, the 1, 2, 10. Look at the concentration, the steady head, and then he gives it all he's got at the end. just that great body strength upstairs that creates that ball speed. And here's the man of the hour, the man that performed so well in the opening match, Jay, in the 10th frame.
Michael Tryniski.
Oh, got a big break there. That could have been anything from the 4-6 to the big 4, or you name it. But he had a lot of pins flying around down there and left only the 6-pin. And these are the kind of breaks you want to take advantage of. Pick up your spares.
He was last appearing in Baltimore. 2 opens and 4 Baker games. Very consistent. Picks it up. And now here's Ted Hannes.
Yep, this is a guy that could bowl with a telephone pole right in the middle of the approach. Now watch how Ted will stand to the right, run to the left, then run back to the right, and get the job done.
Ted living in Zanesville, Ohio these days, a sales rep for Turbo. Owns 3 national and 11 regional PBA titles. Well, he charges that lane. Got them all.
Well, that's the key right there. It doesn't matter how you get there as long as you can repeat it. If you can do it the same way every time, then you know what the ball's going to do. You can create that kind of pin action. You're a heck of a player.
Gators up by 19. We go back to the top of the order to David Guindon.
All right, now the advantage is over for the Gators. We've got an even match as far as being comfortable on the lanes. The TV lights are no longer going to warm up the blood a little bit too much of Turbo 2 and 1, so anything can happen from this point. They have 19 pins with a game and a half to play. And there goes most of it right there in one ball.
Disappointment for David Guindon.
Experience. These two teams both have a lot of tournament experience, but I'd say overall Turbo 2 and 1 has a little more. And here's the shot that just about evens up the match. You see his reaction. He thought it was a good shot. He's running it out. Whoops, what happened? Can't believe that one. Just get 2 of these. Don't try to get cute and throw away pin count. It could be important later. Tried to bounce it out of the pit and just about did.
Steve Fehr. Steve's previous appearance, he was in Cheektowaga, New York back in March. 12 Baker games, 14 strikes, 6 opens.
Expect a good shot from Steve Fehr here. This is his second try on this lane. 4-pin. It was a good shot. He was pretty happy with that. Remember last time he left the 4 and the 7. The 4-pin was moved off spot. He hit the 4-pin solid, left the 7. Very seldom see a right-handed bowler chop the 4 off the 7.
Fehr, Bernhardt, and Hannes were on the team that finished second in the 95 World Team Challenge Grand Championship. We'll return with more from the Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh right after Angelo Open, Kretzer the strike, Turbo 2 and 1, up by 17, Rudy Kasimakis.
Mistakes. We keep telling people fill frames, and some easy spares being missed, and the Gators digging themselves a hole here. Oh my.
Well, he scrambled those, almost lost his watch.
Well, that's almost exactly the same hit that he used in the 4th frame early on. Remember, he left the 5-7. This is the same hit, but this time the head pin goes to the wall, and watch the pin action it creates. Head pin off the wall, comes back, swings the 4-pin back into the 2-pin, and that's what he wanted. Big John Hriscina.
John Hriscina with a strike. The 90 PBA Senior Player of the Year. Tryniski is next.
Well, they need Mike really bad right now. They need him to get out there and perform like he did in the first match, get him a couple of strikes here in the 10th. Maybe he can make this match a little closer than it is right now, because Turbo 2 and 1 seems to have gotten warmed up and getting ready to go here. Oh boy, that's trouble. 3-6-10, and that's not an easy spare, and they definitely don't need an open in the 10th frame.
No.
His caddy handed him another ball there. You see that? Huh? Cross lane here. Try to fit the ball between the 3 and the 6. Be careful. Just right.
Nicely done.
You can see the emotions on Mike's face. He doesn't leave much in the bag when he's bowling, or on how he reacts emotionally. He gets very much involved and always demonstrates how he feels.
All right. 157. And Ted Hannes will finish it off for Turbo 2-1 Grips. Ted last appearing in '96 at Cheektowaga, New York. 11 opens in 24 Baker games. That's a lot of games on TV.
He's been on here more than you and I have, Jay.
I think you're right.
All right, for the strike, Ted Hannes struck in the 5th. His only other chance to show us what he can do, and they could sure use it right now. Oh, the bucket, and not an easy spare. This match is going to end up pretty close after the first game. Two ways to play this and be successful. The easiest way is to move off your strike line, but there's an awful good chance to chop it that way. Ted Hannes generally will go down the left side, throw it very hard. See how he's holding the ball with his wrist relaxed? He's going to throw it hard and straight right down the left side of the lane. Like that. Great cover.
Nice, nice, nice. He's shaking his head, though. He's still a bit confused.
Well, he really wanted that strike badly. On a double going into the 10th frame, it would have been a big boost for their team as they go into the second game of this championship match, and they could have had a fairly substantial lead. If he'd gone out for, say, 194, that's almost a 50-pin lead, but as it stands now, with a strike here, they're looking at maybe a 23-pin lead. Still enough to get them started through those first few frames.
We will return as Turbo 2-1 Grips has the 23-pin lead. The final game of this championship match in just a few. As we go to this last game, Turbo 2-1 Grips up by 23.
Steve playing the kind of game that is controlled. It's controlled excellence is the way I look at it. And what he's trying to do is get the ball to go down the lane a long ways. In other words, the ball is balanced in a certain way that he can get it to go down the lane a long ways, combined with the type of release that he likes to use. The ball stays on line for 50, 52 feet, and then goes into a roll and then sets up in the pocket. So easy to control, and you generally stay out of trouble. You aren't going to throw a lot of strikes, but you're not going to get in trouble either.
An ABC Hall of Famer. He has his spare here. Now it'll be Dave Guindon. Has a couple of PBA regional titles to his credit.
See Dave working his thumb in and out of the thumb hole, trying to get the right feel. The most important part is get that thumb out clean at the point of release.
His team was third in Detroit back in April. Whoa.
Oh, he's right. He tried something different there. He tried to loft the ball a little farther out in the lane with a little more ball speed, and it just stayed there. Really got that one well out there in the air. Of course, if you throw it in the air, it's not going to hook, right? Here it goes. Watch this. He lets go about knee high, and the ball is a good 10 feet in the air before it touched the lane surface. You got a break. You got the 8-pin to fall. Left only the 1-2. Shouldn't have any problem covering the spare.
95% spares, only one open. All right.
That's tremendous spare shooting when you consider he's only missed one spare all throughout the event. In the Baker system match play, which, you know, you're going lane to lane, pair to pair. You're moving all the time, so you're getting a different surface every time.
Dave Bernhardt, his team 2-1 Grips, 8-2 as we told you earlier in the match play. And that one turned left at the last minute.
He's left himself some really tough spares. This he's left the 1-2 and missed it. Left the 2-4-5 and covered it in the first game. Now the 8 along with the 3-pin here, and he wants to get both pins with the ball. He'll try to get it on the right-hand side of the 3-pin and hook it into him and cover both pins with the ball. Oh, great cover there. Well done. see wiping the perspiration from his forehead. He's just kind of relieved that one's over with. Doug Kent's been struggling today. Jay, it just doesn't seem to be able to get it going. They could use someone like Doug Kent to get going well here because they depend on him. He's got a lot of talent, and they would like to get him to set it up for the next man. Get a strike early on here so they can get back into this match because they're down by over 20 pins. Looks like he lost his footing a little bit. Maybe slipped at the foul line and did not get the break. The 210. Watch his sliding foot. His left foot right here, and watch him turn sideways. It's like, see how it's turning? See, it's slipping on him. He lost his balance, and so he couldn't really get the leverage he needed to get the ball to finish back into the pocket area, so he just let it off his hand, and unfortunately he got the bad break, the 210. He's going to try to hit the 2-pin on the left side and slide it across the lane into the 10. That's no chance.
Wow, boy.
Just not Doug's day. He's having an off time right now, and very seldom will you see Doug Kent, a tremendous talent, struggle like this.
He's just out of sync, isn't he?
Well, he's confused. And more than anything else, I think he's just confused. You can see the look on his face. He's kind of sitting there shaking his head.
Brian Kretzer, he's already in the Grand Championships. His Turbo Grips team won the World Team Challenge Regional in Harrisburg back in November. So as he strikes, his team wins here. They'll have to designate somebody else, of course.
What are you doing that weekend? They could use you. Could get out there and bowl, Jay. It's either you or Ed Bauer, one of the two.
I think it'll have to be Bauer.
All right.
There you see the regular average and the Baker average for the three teams that made it into this television final, and the match play records that we've talked about. Brad Angelo.
Well, look at there. There's a little comeback.
First strike.
Trip 4, we haven't seen many of those today, and that gets the Gators thinking a little bit, well, you know, we're not dead yet. And John Hriscina, always tough in the clutch, big, strong man, and they need him for the double right here. Really got it out in the lanes, crossing and carrying.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, is right.
He'll take that one, thank you very much.
Watch the incredible strength, the upper body strength of John Hriscina. Remember that short backswing? Look at that. He just throws the bowling ball, that 16-pound ball down there like it weighs about 8 pounds.
Yeah, a lot of lift and loft.
And here's another guy that uses that upper body strength, Rudy Revs. That's not enough revs to get it back, but not too bad. Didn't look like he was even going to get to the head pin. It left only the 2-7. Very seldom you see a right-hander shoot the 2-7. It's generally the left-hander's baby split. Rudy's going to try to fit it between the 2 pins and let the ball deflect off the 2 into the 7. Not this time. Gators digging a deep hole here, Jay.
Yes, they are.
Ted Hanna's, his team on a double, can really put some nails in the coffin here. This is the second game of our 2-game total pin championship match.
Turbo 2-1 grips in control of this match, barring a disaster.
Well, Ted liked it. He was running it out. He ended up on lane 39, started on 37, but left the flat 10 or the weak 10, whichever way you want to say it.
In 95, Ted Hanna's won the Peterson Classic. 81, he was the ABC doubles champion. At 39, he is a solid veteran, to say the least.
No question. Ted Hanna's a tremendous talent, and he can play almost any shot on any lane condition, and always been a good spare shooter.
He had a little trouble with his balance.
Well, he was
there.
just showing off his footwork.
I guess so. He
Little Arthur Murray stuff there.
almost went over the foul line.
Yeah, here's a look at it. Watch him now. He's trying to throw it so hard that he actually pulls himself off balance, and well, doing a little Swan Lake there, but he salvaged it.
Tryniski.
Got to hurry. There it is. Crossed it over.
Well, all right. We'll return to the Princess Lanes here in Pittsburgh in just a moment. We come back to the last go-round, and Steve Fehr will start it off by 2-1 grips, and they have the lead. Sitting pretty right now.
Just can't afford to make any mistakes. Baker system, anything can happen, and it usually does. And that's a good way to start the second half of this championship, second game of the championship match. And they need some strikes. No question the Gators need to throw some strikes. They know that. We know that. Let's see what Dave can do.
Beauty.
Well, that's what they need. Somehow, some way, they've got to apply pressure to Turbo 2-1. That lead now down to 46, and anything can happen from this point on. And as I said, generally does. It could come down to the anchorman again, and that would be exciting. I'd like to see that.
Here's the boss man, Dave Bernhardt.
It's the man they need right here, and it's not going to get there. That could have been a killer for him if Dave had been able to get the strike and double up for his team. It would have eliminated one more chance for them to get in trouble, and the spare isn't over. Remember in the first game on lane 38, his first time out, he left the 1-2, and he missed it. Great shot there. Well, Dave can sit down now and watch the rest of this game because he's done all he can to help his team. And this is a guy they need more than anybody else right now, the Gators. They need Doug Kent to come through. He's really struggled today. It's just not been the kind of an afternoon you would expect from the talented Doug Kent, former Masters champion. He's won a lot of things over the years, and only because he can make great shots, and he's still a touring player on the PBA Tour. There's no reason for him to feel nervous, that's for sure. But they need him to make a good shot here. Half a loaf. That's a killer right there. That's the one that really is going to do the team in, I believe. The 5 count here, and if he should not make the spare, you can basically say this match is over.
Yeah. Got to have the spare here. And
even with the spare,
a lot of magic after that.
Right. They would need a lot of help from Turbo 2-1. Some major mistakes, and I don't think that's going to happen. And that's the end of this match.
Well, Turbo 2-1 grips going to have the opportunity to go to the Grand Championship. I mentioned again that Fehr and Bernhardt and Hannes were second in the 95 Grand Championships, and of course Kretzer has already qualified with the Turbo Grips team that won in Harrisburg. He's thrown a couple of very, very fine shots here.
Yeah, he's making it look good. And, you know, he's probably more relaxed out there than any of the other 9 players because he's already on a winning team, and he knows this isn't going to change that fact. So he's just trying to help 4 of his friends get there also.
Brad Angelo.
Bowling for pride now. You just want to make a good shot. It's your last chance to show the folks at home that you can still make good shots on television, and that's how you do it. Big John not wasting any time getting up, is he, Jay?
No, sir. He goes right about his job, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, it's right. Well, that's why he won all those senior events. John used to be a postal carrier for a number of years.
Kasimakis.
Got all of that one.
Yes, sir.
Got his whole hand into that one. Big Rudy.
A little late, though.
A little late, but like I say, they're playing for pride now, and when they leave, they say, "Hey, I got my strikes." You know, it was Ted Hannes finish it out for Turbo 2-1.
Earl, we've mentioned the Grand Championships. I would have to say that the way this 95-96 World Team Challenge Tour has gone, that in Louisiana we're going to have a group of talented players there, both male and female, that would rival any you'd put together anywhere in the world.
I think you're absolutely right, Jay. We're going to have almost a who's who of talented bowlers in the bowling industry today, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch the people perform. And I'll tell you, the Baker system brings out the best in these players. Even the PBA players, the PBA stars, when they get a chance to compete in the World Team Challenge, are shocked at the pressure they feel when they've got 4 guys depending on them to perform in the Baker system. Get up and get a strike. We know you're good. Show us how good you are. That kind of thing.
Earl, it's been interesting in this event that we have seen so many of these players struggle early and then seem to get it going late.
Well, it seems like the players learn to adjust to what's out there. That's how good they are. Once they figure something out, they can repeat the shot.
Turbo 2-in-1 grips, a 236.
What a great game that is.
That's outstanding, and Michael Tryniski will finish it out here.
And believe me, Mike's trying as hard as he can on this shot. He wants to make a good shot. Almost got it. Only the 7-pin. Switching balls for the spare, and if he wasn't trying, he wouldn't have been switching balls. He's going to try to pick it up. He wants to throw one more ball. He wants to finish the week with a strike.
This has been a very definitive victory for Turbo 2-in-1 grips.
Well, they were the class of the field in the match play, and they showed that again here in the championship match. This 2-game total pin match, and they shot .406, which is a good score in Baker system. .203 average.
The Turbo 2-in-1 grips team has won here in Pittsburgh. And there is the final score. We're going to show you some information we think you'll find very interesting here. The 93rd tournament leaders from the ABC tournament out in Salt Lake City.
I like that team name, Trout's Minnows. You got to like that.
Previous winners of the team challenge this year. And as you look at these teams, they'll be gathering in Louisiana for the Grand Championship, and it should be a very, very special competition. We have, of course, a number of international teams coming. Team USA will be competing. And all in all, they get together a galaxy of stars, so to speak. We have 2 more tournaments left, Kansas City and Baltimore, and then, of course, we'll look to the Grand Championships in Louisiana. We'll be back and meet the champions here. Turbo 2-in-1 grips right after these messages. World Team Bowling Challenge is brought to you by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of top professionals and amateurs alike. By ABC MasterCard. Get a grip on your finances with the ABC MasterCard. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. By DBA Products, the industry leader in lane maintenance equipment. By Avis Rent-A-Car, the official car rental agency of the American Bowling Congress. And by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. A very decisive win for Turbo 2-in-1 grips. You've got to be thrilled you finally got the job done.
Well, we got 2 seconds and 2/3 this year, and I was telling Ted Hannes I don't want a full house, I want a 2-pair with ace high. So we got the 2 seconds, 2/3, and we got to win. So.
Well, I know you're looking forward to going to Louisiana.
Sure are.
We're going to give you the prizes here. First, it's John Jones, the general manager of Princess Lanes.
Dave, congratulations to Turbo 2-in-1 grips. You defended your title. Good luck in the finals.
One of our old friends, Dan Gluss, is here, of course, from the Greater Pittsburgh 10-Pin Association.
And on behalf of the American Bowling Congress, congratulations and good luck to your team in Louisiana.
Dennis Zarnakis of the ABC, of course, our marketing manager.
Dave, on behalf of the American Bowling Congress, our 2.1 million members, first of all, congratulations on an absolutely great tournament this week. You guys did a great job. And best of luck to you in Kenner, Louisiana. We're going to have a great time at the Pontchartrain and hope to see you guys there again and do a good job down there.
All right. Dave, you've been one of the great supporters of this event. First time I saw the Baker system was about a half a dozen years ago at a collegiate tournament, and it really does make for exciting play.
Well, I enjoy it. I know my teammates, we have a couple of fellas that aren't here, Bob Learn and Mika from Finland. Mika's bowling overseas, and Bobby made the final, so he's got to bowl in Toledo, so he couldn't make it. But we have some great subs. John Hriscina come at the last minute. Thanks there, Gramps.
And, old Gramps looked pretty good out there.
We also have another member on the team that's not a regular member, but he won already this year, so he volunteered to bowl with us, and Mr. Kretzer.
Mr. Kretzer, yeah. He's got an interesting situation. Earl, the conditions were very interesting here.
Well, the lane conditions were beyond interesting, Jay. They were tough, and it was really, really fun to see how these guys adjusted to the changes in the lane conditions. With me here is Steve Fehr, the 1994 Bud Light American Bowling Congress Masters champion. Steve, you guys have been there before, but this time, as already been mentioned, Mr. Kretzer is a sub on the team, basically, and you have to replace him with someone else.
That's a fact. Actually, in Louisiana, we'll be doing battle against him. We're going to be replacing him with Bobby Learn and Mika Koivuniemi. And we're looking forward to going down there.
You telling me you need two guys to replace Kretzer?
I'll tell you what, the way he plays in these kind of competitions, yes, you do.
All right. Well, it should be exciting when you get, especially with Mika. He's an outstanding player from Sweden and one of the finest bowlers all over Europe, so he's not going to be anybody that's going to hurt your team, that's for sure. What I was kind of curious about last year, you guys really did well in this tournament. You made it to the championship, and it came down to just the last few frames.
It did. We lost a really close championship by 5 pins last year. We actually did battle against Mika. He bowled excellent for Finland, and this year we've got him on our squad, and we're looking forward to bowling with him in the finals.
That's right. It is Finland, not Sweden, Jay. I'm
That's
sorry.
Right.
I kind of messed that
close.
one up.
Well,
it's one over there in the Scandinavian area anyway. All right. Well, one other thing before we go away, Jay, and it's kind of interesting that your wife is an outstanding player in her own right, and she will be in Baltimore in a couple of weeks trying to qualify to get to Louisiana.
Yeah, that's for sure. Earl, she's going to be bowling with a really good squad of ladies in Baltimore. I'll be there to give her the moral support that she's always given me, and she just had a very good championship up at the WIBCs, and I'm looking forward to watching them hopefully win.
All right. Should be fun in Louisiana.
Dave, we've got about 30 seconds for you to say some thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank the proprietors and the kids especially today. They worked outstanding. They followed us around and did their job like they were instructed to. I mean, we had no problem. I'd like to thank Brunswick, Linz, and the rest of the sponsors. Thank you very much.
All right, there are your champions here. Turbo 2-in-1 grips. Good luck to you, gentlemen, down in Louisiana at the Grand Championship. A big win here. The next World Team Challenge telecast is an open division event from the NKC Pro Bowl in North Kansas City, Missouri. Check your local listings for dates and times. For Earl Anthony, this is Jay Randolph saying so long from Princess Lanes in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.